Good evening, this is Commander Valentino with ASPD Patrol, Albuquerque Security Protection Department, back again with yet another video. In this video, we're going to be talking about thin lines. Now, in the past, I've gotten into debates with people over the color or thin line color that security has or should use. A few years back rather, I used to think that security fell under the thin green line. There's a whole Facebook group dedicated to security officers called the Thin Green Line Security or Thin Green Line Brotherhood, something like that. I can't recall the name of it. I am no longer on Facebook, so I don't remember the name of the Facebook group, and I can't recall if they have an Instagram channel or not. I don't know, but it's something along the lines of Thin Green Line Security, Thin Green Line Brotherhood, something like that. But the Thin Green Line does not represent security or the security industry as a whole. It does not. So I'm going to go over a list of all the thin lines and what they mean and represent. Starting with the thin blue line. That represents police officers. It also shows support for police officers, for those individuals who aren't cops that have thin blue line flags or whatever that support the police. That's that. Thin blue line is for police officers. The thin red line is for firefighters. I almost said fire officers. Firefighters. The thin green line is for, well, I'm seeing that the thin green line is for military, and I'm also seeing that the thin green line also represents what are they? Not U.S. Park Rangers, Border Patrol officers, which that's kind of odd to me because Border Patrol they fall under the category of law enforcement, which means that they should be under the thin blue line because they are law enforcement officers. They are a form of police officer. The thin yellow line represents tow truck operators. The thin gold line represents telecommunications operators, 911 dispatch, etc. The thin white line represents EMTs. The thin gray line represents corrections officers, COs, jail officers, jailers, whatever you want to call them. And I'm trying to think if there's any more that I'm missing. There's been multiple suggestions that the military should be represented by the thin camo line, but there's different patterns of camo. You have your black and white camo, you have your urban camo, you have your desert camo, you have your traditional camo, your Vietnam camo. I don't think that that's ever going to be a thing. So I truly believe that the thin green line should represent the military, but it also represents Border Patrol agents, which again that doesn't make sense to me, since Border Patrol agents they're law enforcement officers and should be under the thin blue line. Okay, so now the whole reason why people think that security falls under the thin green line is because I guess I think it has something to do with the Department of Homeland Security, some division within there, or the UN Security Division or something like that was using the thin green line, and a bunch of security guards mistakenly thought that, oh, well, the thin green line represents security. No, I'm telling you, it does not represent security. We are not represented by the thin green line in any shape, form, or fashion whatsoever. There's also another misconception where security is represented by the thin yellow line. Again, we are not represented by the thin yellow line. That is reserved for tow truck operators. They have their own line, and that is yellow. So with that being said, I'm going to talk about the color of line that we do have. And yes, we as security officers, for those of you who care, and to finally put to rest this argument and debate over what line security has and what line security should use, I'm going to show you right now. The International Foundation for Protection Officers, IFPO, right here. We are represented by the thin purple line. Now, the reason why we are represented by the thin purple line, well, I'll read most of this to you. I don't know, whoever wrote this article, he or she says, I was very pleased to learn that the ASIS Global Board of Directors unanimously approved the Thin Purple Line initiative at their June 22nd, 2020 board meeting. Well, this took place in 2020. The boards of the International Foundation for Protection Officers, IFPO, as well as the Anti-Terrorism Accreditation Board, both previously approved the Thin Purple Line initiative. Globally, thin line colors have come to represent the various disciplines of professionals that help others. Beyond the thin blue line being a symbol used by law enforcement professionals, the thin red line is being used by firefighting community, the thin white line for emergency medical services, the thin gold line representing communications operators, the thin green line represents federal agents as Border Patrol, park rangers, game wardens, and conservation personnel. Again, I'm not really too sure about the thin green line. I'm hearing that it's also used to represent military personnel as well. Where did I leave off at? The thin silver line, or thin gray line, represents correction officers. What is missing is any type of standardized thin line color that represents the security profession, both public and private. While private and public sector security personnel form an essential part of the protective apparatus of most nations and outnumber law enforcement personnel by a 2-to-1 margin, they currently do not have their own line color. They're saying this as of 2020. It is 2023. We currently do now have our own line color. See, as there is no agreed upon color representing the security profession, it is right for those who work in security to have their own thin line color. I agree. This would be used to show ongoing support for security professionals and to create a better sense of professional community, and also honor and memorialize security professionals who are injured or have been killed in the line of duty. What thin line color is most appropriate to represent security professionals? The ASIS Law Enforcement Liaison Council conducted extensive research to answer that question. The outcome of that research resulted in the committee recommending the color purple be adapted as the official thin line color based on these following factors. The color purple is derived by combining the color blue, the color for law enforcement, the color red, the color for fire, and the color white, the color for EMS. Since the duties and responsibilities of most security professionals entail duties of each of these professions, fire watch, putting out fires, EMS, those of you who are CPR certified or have an extensive medical field, and law enforcement, those of us who not only enforce policy but enforce laws within the states that allow us to do so, etc. Since the duties and responsibilities of most security professionals entail duties of each of these professions, the color purple is the most sensible. This color combines the calm stability of blue and the fierce energy of red. The color purple is separate and distinct enough from the colors of other public safety and related disciplines so there can be no confusion between it and other thin line colors. I will read that again. The color purple is separate and distinct enough from the colors from the colors of other public safety and related disciplines so that there can be no confusion between it and other thin line colors. It says right there. Right there. Okay. A query has been conducted with multiple sheriffs and police chiefs asking if they would support purple as a thin line color representing all security, public and private. Without fail, they all thought it was a good idea and strongly supported the thin purple line being designated as the color for the security profession. Security professionals having their own thin line color would help raise awareness of the security profession with the public. The committee presented its research and findings to the LELC during their monthly meeting on July 11, 2018. The committee recommended ASIS International adapt the color of velvet or purple as the official color to represent all public and private security professionals. This motion was brought before the LELC for a vote where it was unanimously adopted. The LELC chair then forwarded this initiative to the ASIS Board of Directors with a recommendation for their consideration. And that's the article. This took place in what did it say? As early as 2018 and 2020. It is now 2023. We have our own line color. So no more of this debating and arguing about what color of thin line security is represented under. We are not thin green. We are not thin yellow. We are the thin purple line. For those of you who don't like the color purple, oh well, it is what it is. They decided on it. Police chiefs and sheriffs across the nation agreed on it. I, as a security guard and security company owner, also agree on it. I like it because I agree with it. I mean, combining the colors red and blue with white, because we do a little bit of all three, you get the color purple. I mean, that's simple common sense. That's simple, color science. You combine those three colors, you get the color purple. I think it's a good idea. I like the color purple. I don't have a problem with it. Purple also signifies royalty. I'm not saying I hail from royalty, but as a company owner, I went through a lot to get this company to where it is today, and I'm not even nowhere near done with it. So that's that. Again, no more arguing about the thin line thing. For those of you who may ask why, then if that's the case, why do I have a thin blue line flag on the back of my car? Simple. I support law enforcement. I'm not a cop. I don't say that I'm a cop because I'm not a cop, but I do support the police. And it said in that article, the thin purple line stands for those who serve in the security profession, both public and private. It also stands for security officers that have been injured or have fallen in the line of duty. And it also stands for those who show support towards security professionals, meaning that, for example, one of my brothers who is not a security officer, but yet shows support, if he decides to put a thin purple line flag on his car, I'm not going to get mad at him. That just shows that he supports me in my line of work. It is what it is. So I will be getting thin purple line flags for, I don't know if I'm going to get thin purple line flags on my uniforms. I don't think I will. I might get them for the jackets, but I'm not entirely sure. If any officers within my company want to wear a thin line flag patch, the only ones that they will be allowed to wear are thin purple line or just a regular US flag patch. I will not be allowing the thin blue line because I can see while we show support for law enforcement, I can see where it would it would draw confusion or make people think that, oh, that officer, that security guard's a police wannabe. He has a thin blue line on his vest. I don't want to deal with none of that. So my officers will not be allowed to have thin blue line flags on their uniforms or on their vests, even though they wish to show their support for law enforcement. Excuse me. I'm not going to allow that. So I'm going to make a policy about that. While if they have it on their car, I don't know. This will probably be the only security patrol vehicle that has that flag. Once I get other vehicles, I will not put any thin blue line flags on any of my patrol cars, because I don't want people thinking that we're police. And strangely enough, police in my city, the police department, the city police, the county sheriffs, and the state police don't have thin blue line flags on their vehicles or on their uniforms. So why should we have them on ours? I mean, I'm speaking for my agency. I mean, for those who own security agencies, those of y'all, if y'all want to put that on there, I can't tell y'all what to do with the companies that y'all own and run. I'm not that kind of person. I'll give suggestions, but I'm not going to. Police responding to something. But I'm not going to tell anybody how to run their business. That's just not me. I don't do that. So with that being said, that wraps up this video. I will see y'all in the next video. Guys, stay safe, stay vigilant. Something's going on. Third police vehicle I seen fly by, code 3. Stay safe, stay vigilant. I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.